135 sailors sealed inside the USS Virginia, hundreds of feet below the Atlantic, living in a steel world cut off from sunlight and fresh air. Life here isn't rumor or Hollywood imagination. The Navy has released real footage and accounts from crews who've lived it. Meals come from a kitchen the size of a small apartment. Bunks are shared in rotating shifts. Showers are limited, timed, and fought for between watches. This is how submarine crews eat, shower, and sleep while staying submerged for weeks. Feeding 100 plus in a tiny galley? Feeding over 100 people on a submarine is nothing like running a typical restaurant. It's more like orchestrating a floating deep-sea miracle. In the tight quarters of a U.S. Navy submarine galley, which is just about the size of a small room, 6 carefully trained cooks churn out 4 meals a day for a crew of 100 plus, even while the boat is rolling and diving. They bake fresh bread, grill burgers, fry up breakfast, and sometimes serve pizza, all from scratch. To conserve space, the submarine is packed with 60 to 90-day food supplies. These include frozen meats, canned goods, and just enough fresh produce to last the first 2 weeks. Once the submarine submerges, there's no resupply ship in sight for weeks, sometimes months. That means every inch of storage is used for food. Fresh produce might last only a couple of weeks, after which it's out of reach. From then on, it's all about frozen, canned, and vacuum-sealed goods. Even the floor becomes storage. Canned food may lie on footpaths, stacked from deck to ceiling, and crew members are always passing food as they literally walk through the submarine. The culinary specialist on the Virginia-class submarine revealed how they whip up meals for up to 150 sailors. They work in a compact galley, roughly 10 x 14 feet, with simple equipment. Ovens, stovetops, a deep freezer, and only a few hands to help. What's more, their menu cycles every 28 days, so while variety is limited, there's always something on the plate. Despite these constraints, the cooks have what they need to prepare favorites like turkey, ham, pork, mac and cheese, and even freshly baked bread, right from scratch. Of course, these fresh foods are only available in the first few days, and after a while, they have to rely on frozen and canned foods. The food teams have to plan ahead before deployment, picking items that last and then rotating menus in response to the crew's feedback. The submariners always call the supply officer CHOP. Along with him, 6 or 7 culinary specialists manage inventory, meal prep, and careful rationing. They log everything daily, track use by dates, and make decisions about what gets used first. Fresh food goes quickly, and special treats like bacon and coffee are highly prized. The dining area isn't only for eating, it's also where the sailors study, unwind, and connect. It might not be comfortable to eat while you're stuck underwater, but surprisingly, submariners would argue that they have the best food in the US military. So, that's how they eat. But what about staying clean with over 100 people in a tiny space? Before we get to that, if you're enjoying this look inside the daily life of a sailor, hit subscribe so you don't miss future videos. Now, back to the showers. The Navy shower rules. Even when you are trapped in a steel tube miles below the surface, water isn't as plentiful as you might expect. You have to produce your own water, reuse it, and ration it very carefully. Submarines make their own fresh water from seawater using desalination systems. Some submarines use evaporators, which boil seawater and capture the vapor, leaving the salt behind. Modern submarines also use reverse osmosis, filtering seawater through membranes to strip out salt and other impurities. That fresh water is precious. At first, it's used to feed critical systems like reactors or batteries, and after that, whatever is left goes toward drinking, cooking, and hygiene. Showers on a submarine are unlike anything you do at home. First, you turn the water on just long enough to wet your skin, then twist it off. That's your cue to lather up with soap and shampoo. When you're done scrubbing, you turn the water back on just for a brief rinse and then shut it off again. On older diesel-electric boats, sailors might only get a proper shower every 2 or 3 weeks, and in rare cases, even go more than a month without one, depending on resources. On nuclear-powered submarines, things are a bit more forgiving. The desalination system is more efficient, so fresh water is more available. Crew members might even shower daily, though they're still trained to keep their routines tight and efficient. Even then, the showers are designed to deliver limited water flow, and many crew members swear by the wet soap, rinse rhythm to make every drop count. Wastewater doesn't disappear when it's used in submarines, but water from showers and sinks is collected into gray water tanks. When those tanks fill up, they must be pumped overboard carefully because discharging water has to be managed so it doesn't compromise the submarine's stealth. Keeping things hygienic on the submarine goes beyond just showering. Submarine crews use liquid or powdered soaps, and surfaces like shower stalls and heads need to be regularly cleaned with chemical solutions to prevent mold or slime buildup. Every bit of water and cleaning effort is focused on keeping the submarine clean without wasting anything. Submarine crews might have to manage water carefully, but another thing they have to manage is space, as it's not easy to sleep comfortably when you have over 120 people on the ship. Hot racking, constant noise, and the sleep struggle. Sleeping on a submarine isn't like curling up in your cozy bed at home, but it involves maximizing every inch of space and adapting to the submarine's relentless rhythm. Life on a submarine usually follows a watch system, where crew members rotate duty in shifts. The standard is a 24-hour day, and a common watch rotation is 6 hours on, 12 hours off. During those 12 hours off, a sailor must also complete maintenance, training, eat, and sleep, which severely fragments their rest. Because of that, they don't exactly feel the regular night. They sleep when their shift allows, regardless of what hour the rest of the world calls bedtime. But the problem isn't just the sleeping schedule, but the space. Submariners often practice hot racking, which involves sharing bunks rather than having your own dedicated bed. In some cases, 2 or even 3 people are assigned to the same rack, trading off as one wakes for duty while another drifts off. So you might lie down in a bed that was occupied just minutes before, still warm from someone else's body. On many submarines, the sleeping quarters are stacked bunks, sometimes 3 tiers high. In older or more cramped submarines, that can make turning or comfort even more tricky. Some submariners have said that their bunks are more like tight, coffin-like spaces. Privacy is limited, so many bunks have little curtains, and there's just enough room beside your rack for a small locker for your things. Lighting on board isn't tied to day or night. There's no natural sunlight deep underwater, and the internal lighting is constant. To manage sleep quality, some submarines use specific lighting strategies to simulate a rhythm or help the body adjust. But without regular daylight, getting truly in sync with a 24-hour cycle can be a real challenge. Noise is part of daily life in the submarine too, and that makes it hard to sleep. The constant hum of machinery, ventilation systems, and the creaks of the hull become background lullabies. Most submariners adapt. After a while, they can hardly notice the whirring. Because of the tight conditions, some sailors don't sleep in the typical rack areas. They might make makeshift bunks in less conventional places. For instance, between storage lockers or even around torpedo tubes when space demands it. Despite the tight conditions, many submariners have reported that when they're exhausted from work and the duty cycle, sleep comes quickly and they get used to it. But how do these submariners understand day and night when they're underwater all the time? Life without sun. Submarine crews are stuck in a metal boat underwater with no windows, no sunrise or sunset, and no natural cues to tell them what the time really is. Inside the submarine, lighting becomes their timekeeper. The lights are on 24/7, and there is no real darkness. Many submarines use dim, red-shifted lights rather than bright white or blue because red light is easier on the eyes and helps preserve night vision. These lighting systems are also carefully tuned to help regulate the crew's internal clocks, or circadian rhythms. Many modern submarines also come with circadian-informed lighting systems, which are lights that gradually change in brightness and color temperature to mimic natural light cycles. These systems are designed to help the crew better align their biological rhythms with their sleeping schedules, reducing fatigue and improving sleep quality. The watches of submariners also play a role. The universal standard is a 24-hour schedule. When combined with better lighting, this helps people feel more in sync with the normal day-night cycle. Because submariners don't get natural light cues, they rely on routine. They have set times for meals, sleep, showers, work, and rest, and the lighting anchors their sense of time. Meanwhile, the submariners have to follow very busy schedules, with only about 4 to 6 hours of sleep every 24 hours. The relentless rhythm. Life as a submariner is anything but quiet. Their schedule is relentless, tight, and unforgiving. Underwater, time is divided into strict watches or shifts over a 24-hour period. A common pattern is 6 hours on, 12 hours off, but those 12 hours off are packed with other duties. When you're on watch, there's no downtime. You're fully engaged in essential tasks such as navigation, sonar monitoring, reactor management, and weapons systems. Then when you're off duty, you've got to squeeze in everything else like maintenance, training, exercise, eating, catching up on admin, and trying to sleep. Because of this cycle, sleep often comes in short blocks. On some submarines, crew members report only getting about 4 hours of continuous rest due to demands of maintenance, drills, or other responsibilities. Over time, that fragmented rest and constant shift changes wear on your body's internal clock. But let's not forget the mental toll that it takes. Being isolated underwater for weeks in a metal container while carrying out high-stakes tasks can be intense. What's more, there is limited personal time. Submariners say that even when they're off, they're rarely really off. Personal tasks, studying, and repairs, all of these compete for their free hours. Coping in the submarine. Aside from eating, sleeping, and showering, there's always a problem with the air the submariners breathe. Submariners use sophisticated life support systems to scrub carbon dioxide and replenish oxygen. Sensors constantly monitor levels of O2, CO2, and other gases to ensure the air stays within safe limits. Yet even with those systems, small shifts in gas concentrations or humidity can make the air feel stuffy and heavy, which can lead to fatigue and headaches for the crew. But the main problem that cannot be ignored is the emotional impact of being in a submarine. Isolation is constant. The submarine is a sealed world, cut off from sun, wind, and distant loved ones. Over long patrols, it's common for crew members to experience anxiety, homesickness, or a creeping sense of claustrophobia. They have to go through tests before they can qualify as a crew member on a submarine. That's also where leadership comes in. Captains and senior officers know the importance of morale and focus on boosting it. They use team-building methods to build trust, shared purpose, and strong bonds so that if someone starts to crack, others are ready to step in. So, life on a submarine is definitely not a cruise. For the crew, months of sharing a bed, taking 30-second showers, and eating food made in a kitchen the size of a closet. It's a demanding life, but it's a sacrifice this tight-knit crew makes in the line of duty. What do you think would be the hardest part for you? For more insights into life in the Navy, subscribe and hit the bell. We'll see you in the next video.